All right, I think we'll start. Welcome everyone to week 11. Time is just rolling by. So just first announcement. We're gonna play with Adobe Animate. So if you don't have Adobe Animate, install the trial edition, which only lasts for 7 days, which means you only have 7 days to do your class in-class exercise and lab. So keep that in mind. I know I said everything is due the last day of class, but if you're doing the trial edition of Adobe Animate, then just keep that in mind. So you only have like 7 days to do your stuff. If you're the type to print out the assignment, I just switched something yesterday. I just switched number 3 for number 3 used to say in class exercise 11, and number 16 used to say lab 11. So I just switched those two around. I have decided so these are the only remaining classes. So next week will be on Webflow, which is a web-based web maker. The week after that was going to be Intro to Augmented Reality, and still is. But what I've decided to do is I've decided to combine the last 2 classes into one class. So that way all of your labs and exercises are done here. And then this will just be like a project workday where I come in, there's no lesson plans. I can help you with your project so you can submit it hopefully at the end of the class if you want. So that's what I'm planning to do. Okay. So today's class for Adobe Animate, you'll hand in an exercise and a lab. Same with next week's Webflow, and same with the following week for Intro to Augmented Reality. And then after that, it'll just be a free day where hopefully if you choose to come in, you don't have to. I can help you with your assignment number 2. Okay. Yeah, so last class, if you want to come. All right. So today, we're talking about Adobe Animate. Just to keep in mind where we were, we've done CSS, we've done a lot of the Greenstock stuff here. We've done a lot of the SVG stuff here. Now today, I'm just going to touch upon this land just very quickly. I know you've already learned Canvas from Scott from another class last semester, so I'll just briefly review it because Adobe Animate actually uses Canvas, or it can. Yeah. So today's class, we'll just review a little bit of Canvas. Talk very briefly about Create.js, which is sort of like, I think of it like a Greenstock, but for Canvas element. And then we're going to get into Adobe Animate. And this Adobe Animate, this is where it could get interesting. Last year when I did this, eventually people get lost, and hopefully people won't get lost, although I'm pretty sure you will. Hopefully I'll be slow enough and repeat enough that no one will get lost. Okay, so just the 10,000-foot view of where we were. We've learned how to animate in the browser using DOM manipulation, using CSS, JavaScript, as well as SVG animation using Greenstock. And now we're here. We are here talking about 2-dimensional canvas animation. Again, if you want to do 3D, and WebGL, that's look into 3JS. But we are here for 2-dimensional canvas animation. So this is just a quick review. You've already done this with Scott. So you basically have in your HTML a canvas element, like so. And in that canvas element with your JavaScript, you probably did something like this, where you say canvas.getContext2D, and then you just begin drawing stuff, right? You remember that from Scott's class last semester? Okay, so I'm not going to review that. But check this out. On my slide, I have a link here. Check out Canada's new $10 bill. So if you click that link, this. You could use your mouse to flip it around and stuff like that. Question is, how did they do that? Let's inspect the code. I can't right-click that, so let's go in here and let's go to page source. Oh shoot, no, I don't want to page source. Let's go here, inspect this. try it again. Inspect this heading. All right, so that means it's below that somewhere, probably here. Div class spinning image. So if I expand that, I should see something. Spinning. Oh, there it is. Look, canvas. They're using canvas. So how they do that? They use the canvas. So let's just confirm that. Let's delete that element. Delete. There it is. It's gone. Okay, so they're using canvas element to do that. One thing you should know is this library here. So this is what I consider like the green sock, but for canvas. I'm sure there's other libraries that do the same thing. So this create.js library, if we go to their web page, you'll see they have a bunch of different libraries. One called easel.js, one called tween.js, sound.js, and preload.js. And I remember actually playing with this for Comp 1073 for the teacher I had at the time to create some kind of like ad banner. And it was pretty neat using Canvas. So just keep this in mind if you ever need to use Canvas, but you don't want to be as low level as, you know, in your JavaScript with Scott McCrindle, where you're doing, you know, context dot line draw, whatever, from this point to this point. You don't want that kind of thing. Keep create.js in mind, which is higher level, so you don't have to deal with all the low level stuff. Where are my slides? Was it? So just a review of what's so great about Canvas. Canvas is fully interactive. It can respond to a user's actions by listening for keyboard, mouse, or touch events. Animation, every object drawn on the canvas can be animated. This allows for all levels of animations to be created. It's number 3, it's very flexible. You can create just about anything on Canvas, you know, lines, shapes, text, images, even video and audio. In terms of browser and platform support, the Canvas element is supported by all major browsers. So here I have a link for the all major browsers, which links to the Can I Use website. And if you search for Can I Use Canvas, you can see that's pretty much all green. So it's well supported. Popularity, Canvas popularity is rapidly and steadily growing, so there is no shortage of resources available. The Canvas element is a web standard. It's part of HTML5, and it's developed once, run everywhere. So the Canvas element offers great portability once you create it. So unlike the older technologies like Flash and Silverlight, the Canvas application can run almost anywhere. The only downside that I've heard about with Canvas is this, and I've put a link here for accessibility, where it says Canvas accessibility. And there's a couple of sentences here I want to highlight, if I can. Where is it? Canvas element has support in all browsers and will render on screen, but the Canvas content will not be accessible to screen readers. So with Canvas, the accessibility has to be added later using JavaScript and Area. And then it actually says here later on, same page, this is the next paragraph, SVG is a better choice for interactive content and custom controls than Canvas because SVG has internal semantics. So just keep that in mind. We're going to play with Adobe Animate. Here's their help page. And the one sentence I wanted to just highlight here is this one here. Adobe Animate CC publishes HTML5 content using the Create.js libraries. Animate CC publishes HTML5 content using the Create.js libraries, the same one I just showed you. So just realize the connections, to connect the dots, and let's go. So here are some other GUI-based platforms. We're going to touch on Adobe Animate today. Next week, we'll touch on Webflow. So now we begin. So hopefully, I'll be slow enough and repetitive enough to so that no one gets lost. I'm thinking that maybe whichever table you're at, maybe someone can be like the group leader in terms of making sure that everyone on their table is up to the same spot. And if anyone gets lost, instead of raising their hand to me, raising their hand to their, or letting the group leader know I'm lost. And that group leader will ensure that they are back on track before I move on. I am recording, yes. So I'm just trying this out for I've never tried this technique before with the group leaders. We'll see how it goes this semester, okay? I do have a link here for called instructions that I'm gonna read off of. This is my personal notes of what I'm gonna follow as I'm teaching this. Maybe this might help you, maybe not, because maybe, I don't know, if I didn't word something correctly, you might not understand. But that's what I'm gonna read off of right now. So open up Adobe Animate, and if you haven't already installed it, install it quickly. There's one thing I want you to download, and it is this under weekly learning, under week 11 for today. For in-class exercise, I want you to download this file called background texture PSD. And maybe while you're at it, download like a picture of yourself, like maybe your GitHub picture or something. Some kind of picture, doesn't matter. Okay, so download this background texture PSD, which is a Photoshop file, as well as a picture of yourself or an avatar, maybe your GitHub picture, whatever. And we're gonna start. Okay. So if anyone is lost, please let me assign group leaders. Joel and Jaden. So Jaden, you take care of Jiva, and Joel, and you take care of Andy. Well, I guess you don't have to. If he's not your friend, that's, I guess not. You cover each other's back, and maybe over there, Andre, you cover Jill, and Brando, you cover Zach. Cool. All right. So when you open up Adobe Animate for the first time, let's do a new ActionScript 3.0. So this, let me just say one word about this ActionScript 3.0. Now, another thing I should keep in mind is I'm using this 2017 edition of Adobe Animate. So if you just downloaded something new, it probably will look slightly different than mine, which could add to the confusion. A lot? Okay, so I mean, if you don't see this splash screen right now, maybe if you clicked on File, New, you might see something that allows you to choose ActionScript 3.0. A word about ActionScript. ActionScript was Flash back in the day. So we are, in a sense, creating Flash by default. But then, what? Yeah, so for the height, for the width, let's make it 750. And for the height, let's make it 420. And then okay. There you go. Also, just to make sure my screen matches yours as much as possible, I'm going to encourage you, although you don't have to, on the top right corner, there's this little drop-down menu where you can actually choose different kinds of views for Adobe Animate. I'm going to use Classic, so feel free to choose Classic so that my screen hopefully matches your screen as well. Sorry? Oh, the height was 750 width, 420 height. That's right. No one can. All right. Yes, I said 750 width and 420 height. Yeah, everyone's caught up? 750 by 420. Okay. I'm going to set the background color to some other color. So some of this stuff I'm showing you in Adobe Animate is stuff related to just the application itself. It doesn't really have to do anything with animation. And some of the stuff will be dealing with animation. What I've done, just so you know, where I got this from, and let me give proper credit. Oops, wrong one. If you ever are on Lynda and you Google Adobe, or you search rather for Adobe Animate, there's a couple of them that show up. Right now, I am doing very quick, minimal presentation of this one right here. If you ever watch this Learning Adobe Animate, this guy, it takes forever for him to actually build the project because he's showing you all the little details and all the little buttons. Hey, you can do this, you can do this, but he never actually uses it in his project. So I took his stuff and just minimized it and said, here's what you need to know to make a minimal viable project. And the other one that you're going to do for today's lab is this one, Adobe Animate, which I'm going to ask you to watch. Not all of it, just 12 minutes worth of it. Okay, and that'll be your lab. Okay, so the next step is I'm going to click on this stage button right here to change the background color. You can change it to whatever you like. I'm just going to choose this one over here, just to be whatever. So I clicked on the stage rectangle where you can set the background color. Go ahead and pick a background color. Okay. We're going to import that photo that I asked you for your avatar, or you can import something. It doesn't matter. So click on File, then go to Import. Now you have a couple of different options. You can say import to stage or import to library. FYI, if you import to stage, you will import to library as well. So let's just click on import to stage. And this is where I previously asked you to download that PSD file in Blackboard. This is where I want you to go. And oh, sorry, my bad. Your avatar, your photo. That's what I want you to do first. So I'm going to choose my photo. There it is. There's me. And let's just drag it to the upper left somewhere. To resize your image, what you can do is make sure your selection arrow is selected. Oh, sorry, not that one. Click on this one right here where it says Free Transform Tool. So click on that. And I believe you now have the boxes where you can extend and shrink. Yeah. While that layer is up, you'll notice that it gives you a layer _1. Go ahead and rename that to photo. And now we're going to import the background PSD file. If you have Photoshop, and if you happen to open the background texture.psd file within Photoshop, you'll notice that it actually has 3 layers. And we're actually, sorry, no, I'm confusing that with lab. Never mind, just ignore what I just said. So we're gonna import this PSD file. So I'm gonna click on File, Import to Stage, and this time find that background texture PSD file. And open it up, and it should be nicely placed. Oh, sorry. This prompt comes up. It's giving you different layers. Uncheck this one. We don't need this one. Background texture. Okay. And then if you click on the grunge texture layer here, you'll see all these different options. We won't touch any of these other options. But I did want to make sure this is selected. Make sure this is selected if not already. Flattened bitmap image is selected. And then go ahead and click on Import. So now you'll see a nice, cool looking layer, background texture layer. But now your photo is gone. For those of you who know Adobe, how can I make the photo reappear? And why does it disappear? It's layers, yeah. So right now, the grunge texture layer is up on top of the photo layer. But if you drag the photo layer back on top of the grunge texture layer, now you'll see the photo back. So keep in mind that's how Adobe products work. Sure, you could do whatever you want. I'm not going to do anything with the photo, although the Linda course, he does something with the photo. But that's the background bigger than the image. It's supposed to look like whatever you see now. Why? What does yours look like? Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, what's going to end up happening is if you want to see what it's going to look like eventually in terms of how it's clipped, there's this one button here called Clip Content. So if you click on that, it'll clip anything outside that border. But it's not doing anything for me because I have nothing outside that border. But let me show you what happens. If I put my image like halfway, and now I click this button, there, right? So it just gives you kind of like a preview. Question mark, yeah.
Yeah, trouble
Having trouble? Okay.
Download it. It doesn't seem to want to download.
Okay, let me show you. If you feel adventurous and want to go ahead, you can.
Like I have it here, but it's not opening.
Go show folder.
Right now, but it also didn't seem to.
That's weird. It's not even running the installation process. Try Control-Alt-Delete, see if there's any process for Adobe Animate that's there.
I tried that and didn't see anything.
I'm not sure what's happening. I don't. Maybe for now, just watch along and hopefully it'll work for you eventually. If not, give me an email, Mark. If you can't install it, give me an email, okay? Anyone else have any questions? Okay. So this is where we're going to type our name. We're going to type our name right here. So before we do that, let's create a new layer. So the new layer button is located right here. So I'm going to click on that. You'll get a layer 3 perhaps. Go ahead and rename that to name. And on the toolbar, you have that big T. That's your text tool. So click on that. Now you could do this one of two ways. If I were to click right now in my document, it'll give me a very narrow box where I can type. If I were to click and drag, therefore defining the width, anything I type will try to fit within that width. So maybe I'll click and drag for now. I want it to be that big. And then just type your name. For you, so you probably did this. You probably did. You didn't drag. You just clicked like that. Gaining height. What? I have no idea. I'll come there in a second. Let me just write my name. That's Vivian can figure it out. Oh, so you're saying okay. Cool. Thanks, Zach. Now, once I type in my name, if you want to reposition it, go back to this selection arrow, and you can drag that name wherever you want. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a little line that goes under, but that line will eventually animate itself. So on the left-hand side, you'll have that line tool that looks just like this, the diagonal line. Click on that. Actually, before you even do that, let's create a new layer. Sorry. So let's create a new layer and rename it Flash. Now, once that line tool is selected, just draw, just draw a horizontal line underneath your name. That kind of looks like that. It's very thin on mine. Let me just change the properties. So once I've drawn it, let me go back to my selection arrow and actually select it so that it's highlighted. And now I can edit the colors and the width. So for the stroke, let me just make it a little bit thicker. There you go, 17. And I'm going to do a little artistic thing. For this style right here, yes, you could choose the down arrow and choose different styles, but you can actually choose this one here as well, the icon called Brush Library. So if you click on this Brush Library icon located right here, you'll get this pop-up. And you have different kinds of lines that you can choose from. I'm going to double click on, I'm going to click on Artistic. I'm going to click on Paintbrush, and then I'm going to double click on this one right here, Brush 1. Just to make it look cooler. So there you go. That's what my line looks like now. You don't have to do that, but it's just cool to know. And now we're going to make it animate using something called a shape tween. So you'll notice that here at the top, you have all these different frames. So the 1 second mark, that's at frame 24, 2 second mark, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go to the 2 second mark here. And I want you to highlight that column of 2 seconds. And we're going to add